It was, Saturday was a huge day for us as a program and for our seniors, and it was a great win. I thought our kids played with great intensity for 60 minutes of football. I thought that they played for the seniors, and our seniors responded and played their tails off. Offensively, obviously, time of possession was huge. It always helps you when you control the football. Being able to run the ball was part of that. I thought we had very good balance, and then defensively, stopping the run is a big part of playing defensive football and kind of making them one-dimensional. And I thought as a team, biggest negative was on kickoff coverage, and that's something that has a little bit of late shown itself, and something that for game 13 we can't. We've got to play much better to do that.
Coach, you watched the Monday Night Football game? Or the Sunday
night game?
Yeah, I did.
I don't usually, but I saw. Yeah.
What did you think about Antoine?
Well, that was pretty cool. But he's a heck of a kid, and I've been able to meet him a couple different occasions, and him and Atia are very close. So believe me, my phone started going nuts, and my brother called from Chicago, and he said, "What in the hell are you?" And then my mom called and said, "Do you know that young man?" So, like a mother would. So, but that was funny.
What's the philosophy over the next couple of weeks with these extra practices? What do you want to get done?
Well, we've got a lot of young guys who we believe are going to be pretty good football players, and we've got the schedule done and how we're going to practice and the days we're going to practice, and really taking some time, particularly the first 6 to 7 practices is all the young kids got to get a lot of work, and that development, and to take advantage of where we're at and where they're at, and being able to have another spring ball, if you will, and so I think that's important. Personally, from a defensive line perspective, those young guys who we think are going to be pretty good players, it's going to be a great time to get back to some of the basics and fundamentals, but really give them some great coaching, which you try and do during the course of the year. But when you do so many look teams and switch personnels, they're doing a lot of stuff off cards.
Are you acknowledging the fact that you're probably going to be playing Navy in the Poinsettia Bowl yet?
I don't know if I can even say anything about that. I think that's a tremendous football team, and I think it'd be a tremendous game for San Diego State and the city of San Diego.
If you were to play Navy, you would have 3 weeks to prep for the triple option, something that Rocky said you need at least 3 weeks to prep for it. Is that going to help you guys a little bit, having that extra time and having seen it once this year with Air Force?
Well, Kevin, I think, we've seen a lot of it, and they're different than Air Force now, believe me. Theirs is a much different look at the triple, but, we still have to do some other things with all those young guys to make sure we're getting them the work they need, so that we can get them to a fundamentally sound better than they are right now.
Coach, the all-conference awards come out today. Just based on what you've been able to do with this program this year, it seems like you'd be a pretty good candidate for Coach of the Year. If that were to be the case, what would that mean, not only for you, but for this university and what you've been able to accomplish?
Well, when awards are given, those are team awards. From, if you're, the first team running back or whatever. It's just not that guy. And, for us and the way we look at things as a team, it takes everybody. It takes, the guys who are marking the ball for us, our managers during practice, the people who are taping the ankles. All that stuff is all, Jenny, those are team things. And I'm not real big on, the individual awards, but they all go to this team and the program and how these kids have responded and how these seniors have responded to the transition. So, that being said, that's great, but, this is a team.
So if Ronnie were to get the freshman of the year, would that also mean it goes to Brandon Sullivan, it goes to
Sure. It goes to Sullivan, it goes to all those guys who are up there blocking for him, the VJ and DeMarco down the field, getting on the safeties, to everybody. And I think our guys understand that, because that's the kind of program we want to be, and the accountability, and, so, yeah, I mean, that's great, but this is a team.
Coach, with the success that you've had here, the success you had at Ball State, Antoine Applewhite calling it Brady Hoke University, your name is out there with a lot of jobs that are coming up. How do you handle that?
To be honest with you, I haven't talked to anybody but one school. And to be honest with you, it doesn't distract me or what we're trying to do. We're trying to win football games here. I know San Diego State's committed to football, and that's an important piece of it. Jim and I have talked, like we said we would after the season was over, and we're happy in the direction that we're going here, and happy with the response from the President Weber about, how this football program and how they want to see it grow, and we want to grow it.
How does Brady Hoke University react to TCU's departure?
I'd be lying if I would say I'm not disappointed, because I am, because I think, that was a great team to play for us, a great gauge for us to some degree. I like Gary Patterson. I like how he coaches. But at the same time, it's like when BYU and Utah left. I really think this conference, is a hell of a conference. And I think there's tremendous teams in this conference. I think when you look at, Boise coming into conference, I think when you look at Fresno and having that natural rivalry, and Fresno and Pat, he's done a great job there, and Nevada, those are good football teams and good football programs. So, I think our conference is going to survive and will be as strong, and saying that means that we have to pull our weight as a football program and make sure the program and the conference stays strong.
Do you think on balance, when everything shakes out, the ones you're losing, the ones you're gaining, you haven't lost ground?
I don't think so. I really don't, Sully. I think this is, and people will argue about it, and that's good. I guess that's what makes all this exciting, and have opinions. But, I tell you what, I watched that game the other night and watched Chris Alt's team up in Reno play a pretty good football team, and play pretty damn well.
Coach, with the internet, anybody in their basement can put an opinion or a fact online. Sure. There was a fact that you have been offered the Minnesota job and that you've turned down the Minnesota job. Is there any... I
haven't talked to anybody since I talked to that school one time.
So they haven't offered you the job, and you haven't...
I haven't talked to them.
Haven't talked to them.
Any of your representatives? Are you represented by somebody who may have had a conversation with them?
He has talked, but not in specifics, Jim.
When you went through this at Ball State, when you go through this and your kids,
Sure.
say buzz about it, how do you address it with the team?
Well, I think when I addressed it the other day with the team, and I don't think we were a distracted football team on Saturday night, and I know one thing, I wasn't distracted in how we coached and what we want to do, because we want to do it for our seniors and our players.
With the recruiting process starting to fire up as well, how do you address that with kids that you're recruiting?
Well, you just, I think to some degree, and I said it the other week, Gary Patterson and Chris Peterson go through this stuff all the time. And you can only, communicate what you need to communicate to them. And our recruits are great. I've talked to a couple of them on the phone and all that. And, our plan is, we've got something that this school feels important, and that's the football program. And I've got a great staff and they're great kids here. And, our focus is on this team and developing the team for 2011 through these next 15 days.
I don't think anyone would blame you if you went to a Big Ten school or a higher profile program. What are your priorities as far as your own career is concerned?
Well, somebody asked me that the other day. Just maybe it was my daughter, I think, asked me that. You know, I mean, she's locked into football pretty good, but you know, at the end of the day, being with those kids on Saturday night in that locker room and seeing their faces and from how they've come together as a team and as a program, that to me is what it's all about, and seeing the growth that I'll use Lindley for an example. Watching him grow in the last 2 years as a quarterback has been one of the most gratifying things, and watching him grow as a leader. And that's why you coach. You know, do we want to win every game? There's no question about it. And winning national titles and that kind of stuff, in the back of your mind, that's there. But it's how you develop 115 kids and how you're there for them. You know, you're father, mother, grandfather, you're everything. And so, in a lot of cases, so, I mean, that's why you coach. I mean, the game, shoot, I like the game, but that's not why I coach. I coach because of those kids.
Well, you've made a move before.
Right.
There obviously were reasons that brought you here.
Sure.
From your alma mater.
Sure.
Are there a set of circumstances that you're looking for here that could solidify you going?
Well, the only thing I can tell you is this, Tim, is, you know, Jim and I have talked, and you know, I'm excited about our conversations.
With San Diego community hasn't experienced a bowl game with the Aztecs in many, many years. Can you quantify the value of extra practices that you get that you wouldn't have,
right,
or that these teams haven't had in the past, and what it could mean for future teams?
Well, I think it's basically you get another spring football, you know, and that's how we're going to use it. I mean, and obviously those first 6 practices we won't do much on whatever our opponent does, but we will focus in a little more on game week. But to bring those young guys along, you know, I've got Everett Beads, a young defensive lineman that we think is going to be pretty good. Kenny Niley is a guy that I got to bring up. You know, you can ask me. My mind is what can I do with Dontrell and all those guys to help them get ready to play a year from now.
And do you see a different, I want to say, spring in the step, because it's a bowl game? It's not a spring practice where, you know, sometimes guys are late in spring practice, sure, or even during the regular season. Do you see an extra excitement because there's a bowl game to prepare for?
You know, I think there is. You know, and I think the way we've scheduled it, because I've been involved with bowl games and done it in a lot of different ways, and you know, when I sat down with Rocky and Alan, we kind of put the schedule together. I think this allows our kids, because one of the negatives, I think, is we've got finals week in that second week. Yeah, the second week of practice, and that part of it, I think, how we've scheduled it every other day until we get into really game week, is going to help our kids on the academic end, and it's also going to keep them fresh. And so I think they're excited about that too.
Anything else for Coach?
Yeah, if you do go to the Poinsettia Bowl,
yeah,
would your team take part in all the festivities as
yeah,
if though you were traveling? And would you stay in a hotel as a Navy will, yeah, and that sort of thing? Would you, yeah, be like you're coming from out of town?
Yeah, I mean, I think that whole bowl experience. You know, we met as a team on Monday morning at 7 and went through the practice schedules and all those kind of things and what we're going to do in the next 4 weeks. But yeah, I think that's a big part of it, you know, and heck, we're excited. If that's where we end up, we're going to be as excited as anybody, and for multiple reasons. But, you know, being there, number one, and also being in front of Aztec Warriors that are here in San Diego.
Coach, did you meet with San Diego State before you left Ball State?
No. Well, before I left? Yeah. Yeah.
Coach has always preached putting the team first. How do you square that in mind? How do you think about that when you're searching for your next job?
Well, I don't think that's the way it goes. I mean, it was after the regular season, and this one, because of timetables for different people, was a little different. And the only thing I can tell you is that, the only person that I got to make sure is not distracted is me, because if I'm distracted, then those kids will be distracted. And the other night, I don't think we were distracted.
Does TCU leaving have any impact on negotiations?
No. I think I saw this coming down the track about a month and a half ago, to be honest with you. So, we're just going to keep doing what we do and do it better.